So it's fair to say if you're a fan of Ferrari, Charles Leclerc and or Lewis Hamilton, the start to the season was not what you were hoping for. A fourth row of the grid start for both of their drivers ended up being low end of the points for Hamilton and Leclerc, as Ferrari currently sit behind Sauber after the first race. Yes, it is only one race, but it's not what they were hoping for. The likes of Nigel Mansell were very much predicting a debut win for Hamilton in Australia, and that absolutely looked like it was never going to happen, even if their strategy did work out in the end, which it did not, of course, when it started to rain. Now, of course, Hamilton has been speaking a lot in the press, as you would expect. Every one of the F1 drivers has to do it, whether they want to or not, and he did say something recently that could well be construed as a dangerous sign for his time at Ferrari. Let's have a look at what he said and why that is the case. Full article on the F1Chronicle.com. All the pre-season hype about Lewis Hamilton's sensational move and World Championship aspirations fizzled in Melbourne as the red cars finished in 8th and 10th. Drivers and Constructors Championship leaders McLaren, however, are not celebrating just yet. We haven't really seen what Ferrari can do yet, team boss Andrea Stella warned. Indeed, it was a scrappy weekend for the Maranello-based team, with boss Frederic Vasseur insisting multiple mistakes hid the true potential of their 2025 car, and hid it did very well indeed. But Hamilton spoke about having to adapt his driving style. I see this as a very dangerous sign, former F1 driver Christian Danner told RTL, because no one has ever really managed to adapt their driving style. It could be a pretty tough season for Lewis. Early signs of trouble and tension between Hamilton and his new race engineer following years with Peter Bonington at Mercedes were also evident. We learned a lot from this weekend because we made mistakes, Vasseur admitted. We need to improve the communication and understand what Lewis needs in terms of communication. 40-year-old Hamilton, however, sees a bigger problem. McLaren and Red Bull are incredibly fast, said the British driver. We have a lot of work ahead of us. In China, I'll try to take a different approach to the setup. Charles Leclerc, who was 2 places ahead of Hamilton, and he commented, if you look at the pace of the McLaren today, it was incredible and even a lot faster than when they took pole. Former F1 driver Timo, is that Glock? It is! Sensationally, that's Glock! Told Sky Deutschland. Of the top teams, Ferrari was the clear flop in Australia. However, even Mercedes is already considering a strategic early shift of resources from the 2025 car to the all-new project for 2026, effectively giving up on winning this year's Constructors' Championship. I would like to be a bit closer to Red Bull and McLaren, but this is the reality, said Mr. Wolf. Now we need to find more races to see if we can get close and if it is worth putting our resources into this car, but it's just the first weekend, so we will find out. I think given the logistics of the opening rounds of the season, I would expect nobody to really turn off the taps just yet, unless you maybe, I don't know, Aston Martin or something. But they got good points. Lance Stroll got 6th place somehow. So, I would expect any kind of changes like that to come into effect, probably for the Middle East, if not going back to Europe for the first time for Imola, just because of the geography of it all. We're in China this weekend. We're in Japan in a few weeks after that. The Middle East is closer to all these guys' bases in Europe, so maybe something for Saudi and Bahrain, but we'll have to see what happens, really. But yeah, the communication thing with Hamilton and his engineer, I wouldn't read too much into that. That's just 2 guys getting used to talking to each other during a race, something they've never done before. It's different in practice and qualifying. The runs are not as long. You're not out there for a full race distance in one go, really. So I would expect things to improve. I expect Ferrari to probably get a bit better in China. I feel like will be a more representative more representative race for them overall, I would say. Just because it's more normal track and the conditions should be more normal as well. Australia was different. We had the rain, we had the dry weather in qualifying as well. It's not really what you'd expect for the majority of the season anyway. So yeah, I'm interested to see how they get on. I want to see them improve. I want to see them have a better weekend. But going off current pace, a podium is a long way off. And for the likes of Racing Bulls and Williams have another good weekend, they could push Ferrari to the very end of the points, somewhere they were already in Australia, 8th and 10th. It doesn't get much worse than that in the actual top 10. So yeah, Your thoughts in the comments below as always, guys. I want to hear what you have to say about this. Where are Ferrari in terms of the pecking order? And if you want to hear some more about my kind of ramblings about Ferrari and why they're in deep trouble, why they may be in deep trouble after Australia, there'll be a link to that video at the end of this one if you're on YouTube. If you're on one of the other platforms, look through the big back catalogue of of videos I've done in the past. There's quite a few on there. Hopefully there'll be something you actually like watching, just like this one hopefully too. And if you did enjoy watching it, like, share, comment, subscribe as always to see more like this. And yeah, have a fantastic week, guys, and I hope you have another great round of action in Shanghai, China this weekend. Really looking forward to it.